In 2017, people had widely accepted that some form of Brexit would have to be pursued to honour the mandate of the previous year's referendum. But somehow, by the time of the 2019 election, there was a massive push underway for a people's vote, which, if you remember, had emerged out of a completely spontaneous, organic, grassroots organised campaign by the people. Hence the name, the People's Vote Campaign. A loosely connected group of anarchic activists. It was like Occupy. Do you remember? It was like Occupy if it was centrally controlled by Peter Mandelson.
The author of all your pain.
And Jeremy Corbyn was often called out for not lending his support to this 100% unastroturfed movement. Because Corbyn didn't go to the protests, like some Labour MPs, such as Labour's key champion of the EU and Brexit Secretary, Sir Keir Starmer. Starmer had in fact single-handedly kept the People's Vote dream alive with a rebellious speech at Labour's conference in 2018. And then, just in the nick of time of the 2019 general election, the Labour leadership reluctantly changed its Brexit position from the popular 2017 one to a vote on the deal with Remain as an option. Just as Starmer had said. Then, in the 2019 general election, despite getting a huge amount of votes overall, more votes than even the mighty Keir Starmer did himself, Labour had one of their worst results ever. Because they lost a huge number of seats in Brexit voting constituencies. Because they lost a huge number of votes to a party that at the time was called the Brexit Party. And yet apparently the 2019 election wasn't anything to do with Brexit. In fact, it had so little to do with Brexit that Labour's champion of the EU and Brexit Secretary, Sir Keir Starmer, was actually an ideal candidate to replace Corbyn. What a terrible election. Let's get someone in who had nothing to do with what a hash we made of that. Let's get Keir Starmer. Gone would be the days when Labour were just looking inwards, just voting for candidates who championed their niche causes. Starmer represented an outwardly facing party that addressed the broader concerns of the electorate, which of course included staying or rejoining the EU. I mean, that's obvious. Everyone agrees on that. And yet, on becoming leader, Starmer immediately shifted. Well, I say immediately shifted. He slowly and slidily, sneakily and snidely shifted Labour's Brexit position so that it fell back in line with the government's. Pretty much where it was all the way back in 2017. We've gone full circle, haven't we, guys? But why? Why did Starmer do that? Well, he claims that the 2019 election had been the last word on Brexit. Obviously, it was a decisive vote on Brexit. Everyone knows that about the 2019 election. You'd be a fool not to see it. But whatever did become of the People's Vote campaign? Well, they'd served their purpose and went the way of the campaign against anti-Semitism and Joe Biden and Volodymyr Zelensky, it seems.